start. Okay. So to summarize where we are with our Tattva Bodha contemplation, we are right now going through the prakriyas. And the prakriya that fundamentally that we are looking at is how I am not any of the bodies and how I am beyond all the three states. So three prakriyas have been introduced so far. That is the Dehatraya and Avasthatraya and Panchakosha Prakriya. And through that, so far we have seen about in detail the Annamaya Kosha and the Pranamaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha also we have understood. In our last session, we had a brief discussion also about Karana Sharira and also the Anandamaya Kosha. So we really need to take up the questions from 9 to 15 onwards. So today's fundamental question can be, through the Panchakosha Prakriya, you can also illustrate what are these five koshas. You can talk about what are these five koshas and how do you establish that you are none of the five koshas. So that is the question. And you can mainly focus on the Karana Sharira part. The Annamaya Kosha and the Pranamaya Kosha and the Manomaya Kosha to a larger extent we have covered in detail. So the Karana Sharira and the Anandamaya is where your focus of the question can be. So when you're talking about how I am not any of these bodies, you can focus on what is really Karana Sharira and what is the Anandamaya Sharira and how it is how you are not any of these. So that is the question. Do we want any change to the question that we are taking up for discussion? Are we on the right track? All right. Sure. So if that is the case, then let's pick up this question and let's start sharing our views. Who would like to go first? So the first question is, what is Karana Sharira or causal body?
Yeah, I believe we discussed on this maybe the two classes before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to maybe I can briefly bring it up again.
Yeah.
There we said the Karana Sharira is it's basically going to the root of why this birth or why one comes up due to desire, and the desire is due to ignorance. Ignorance of the knowledge of the true self. And due to the ignorance of that knowledge, we have desires, and to fulfill the desires, one takes birth. Right, and if you go back to the ignorance, you basically say that it's anadi. You cannot go to cannot trace to see like why or how the ignorance started. Just say that ignorance is always there. From ignorance, we go to getting jnana. At least that's why we say that ignorance has an end. At least it has no beginning, but has an end. Right? When it comes to describing, that's where we say anudvachaniyam. There is no clear way to define like how or why or about the Karana Sharira. Yeah, and until like one realizes self, this Karana Sharira continues, and like one goes to the endless birth and death of the body, of various forms.
Very nice. Does anyone else like to add to what Sarvananji said?
Sir, I had a question. I have
Yeah.
not, I mean, I didn't go through the, 10 to 15 video that Guruji has spoken about, but has he like spoken about when it ends? Because I don't recollect, like, I thought it is endless, the Karana Sharira, because you have mentioned that it has an end, you have mentioned, right? Antya. So,
When Jivatma merges into Paramatma, that's the end, as I understand.
no, that's correct, Sarvananji, but it is not mentioned in video 9, right? So I'm just looking at my
okay.
own clarity, like how did I watch it properly, or I need to rewatch it. Yeah.
Okay, so this nature of ignorance, these 4 points, Anirvachaniyam, Avidya Rupa, Anadi and Antya, he mentions it in the talk 8. So in the talk 8 and talk 9, you will find reference to.
Okay, he's not spoken about Antya, no, sir, in that.
Yeah, so Antya is for the ignorance. Again,
Okay.
please see, it is the nature of ignorance.
Okay, it is not the literal end of this thing. Okay. Okay.
So the association of the jiva with the karana sharira, when it ends, that is the merger, like Sarvananji mentioned. Karana sharira itself, the root ignorance, there is an end. There is a antya. That I am the body, that I am the mind, that is the root ignorance. So does Satyaji or Priyaji want to add anything to the Karana Sharira discussion?
Yeah, you have covered the points. Just for Padmaji's clarity, it is in day 8 video, Padmaji. Like it has an end here. Guru Prabhuji mentions that it has got an end in day 8 lecture that you can go through once again.
Yeah, sure, Priyaji. Yeah, that's what I was trying to. Yeah,
I'll go. I have written the sentence. It has an end, and I have written day 8. So
okay. I will look into it again. Yeah.
Yeah, the same words only I have written. Anirvachaniyam, Avidya, Mithya. It has got Anadi. The same points I have written. So
Okay, sure, Priyaji. Yeah.
I think it is the end of, it is anyway not a body. It is the end of ignorance.
yes.
Yeah, but I think Padmaji's question is when Karana Sharira, our causal body is infinite and ignorance is infinite, how can it really end? That is her question. Right, Padmaji?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Because how I thought is like my thought process was, as we don't know the beginning, how can we be aware of the end? Like today morning before the class, I was also one question came up to me, like how do I know that I am self-realized? Right. I mean, how I thought I should ask Prabhuji, like what changes for you, like when you get enlightened? How will you know that suddenly you are enlightened? Because you are still, like, for example, for me, if I'm still a wife, I'm still a mother, all this. So if suddenly one day morning I wake up and I become enlightened, how will I know?
Okay, this is very important question. So let us continue these 2 questions. So when we say that, Karana Sharira is infinite, or ignorance is infinite, how can I say that there is an end? Yeah, Satyaji, you wanted to share your views. And also you can share your views for Padmaji's question. How do I know that I am enlightened?
So
And what changes after enlightenment?
Karana Sharira basically, as we have discussed, it is not any body. So we are just giving a physical form to the main cause of birth and death. So just for discussion sake, we are saying it is a causal body, that is a karana, it is the cause. So the cause for which, see, the whole journey to enlightenment, which is the self-inquiry, in the journey inside, the end is the end of ignorance. So that is enlightenment, or that is self-realization. And that, it may be a point, it may be a journey, but that marks the end of causal body and the beginning of realization.
Yeah.
So the whole why we are doing all this is to end our ignorance at some point of time. So to remove for liberation. Liberation means we will not have any birth and death. This cycle of karma, we need to end it somewhere. So for that, we want to gain knowledge. Knowledge is not something which is outside, but the knowledge that we are the self. So the moment this ignorance is dissolved, that marks the beginning of liberation.
But does it mean that the life itself ends? Because the
It is not
material for
about
life
life.
is.
Again, life, when we say life, we are talking about the gross body. So gross body has nothing to do with the reason why there is a gross body is the causal body. But once the causal body ends, obviously the gross body also ends at a later point of time. Like once the cycle of karma is done and there is no new, see, why do we accumulate karma is because of the sense of doership. The intention creates karma. So when we feel that I am doing this, I am this, I am this, I am this, there is a cycle of do's and don'ts that we do, that we create, and good and bad that we accumulate. But the moment there is a sense of non-doership, that everything is a happening, that moment where as we slowly realize that we are the self, and that knowledge totally sinks in. It is not an unconscious knowledge, just like Prabhuji says, driving the car unconsciously. So in that way, just as even in my deep sleep, I know I am a woman. So in that way, if I know that I am the self, then that marks the removal of the reason why this body is here. So that would mark the end of the causal body.
Does it mean it brings an end to even the gross body? So the
At least
association
further
of the,
accumulation of further accumulation of karma will not be there.
yeah. So what does that mean? Does it mean life will continue or life will not continue?
Continue. Life will continue. Maybe that particular life, which was born because of the causal body, has to continue, because karma is an arrow which has already left the bow. So it has to continue, and the effect of accumulation of new karma will not be there.
Or we call as Jivan Mukta.
Yes.
The person continues to live. Yeah.
So Jivan Mukta means what then? Jivan Mukta, does it mean end of the gross nature of the world? Or what really ends?
End of accumulation of karma in the current life.
But will life itself continue? Will there be
Yes.
more eating, sleeping, drinking?
Yeah, the realized person will continue.
It is like Prabhuji says, Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, Agami karma. So there is already an accumulation. So because the arrow has left the bow, it is a letter which has been posted to your address and in your name. You have to take it. But further accumulation of karma is not there.
And the the karma that is there in the store is also burnt, which is right. The prarabdha karma is what the person has taken and come, right? And the Jivan Mukta doesn't accumulate anymore, and at the same time, whatever is left in the store is also burnt, so that like there is no more new birth.
But their birth is not there.
Yeah.
So No
So
more.
I have a sorry, sir. I have a question. I mean, I don't agree that the prarabdha karma comes to an end, because otherwise all these great men, I mean,
So we are
especially
not saying
Krishna
prarabdha karma comes to
Paramhamsa
end.
and sorry, sir.
Prarabdha karma will not end. With the prarabdha karma, the Jivan Mukta continues to live to complete
In
that.
this lifetime, you mean,
Yeah,
right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay. That was my question, because
Can I interrupt 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, Jivan Mukta is one who is enlightened, right?
Priyaji, are you
Yes.
talking?
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Jivan Mukta is one who is enlightened, right?
Yes.
Or one who attained moksha, or one who is away from all the karmas. What exactly Jivan Mukta defines?
Very good question. So that is what we're, let's go deeper. So first, let us understand a little more deeply. When we say that,
Before that, Vijayji,
yeah.
I would like to add one point on
Yeah.
Karana Sharira.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
Karana Sharira is avidya, right? Karana
Yeah.
Sharira is ignorance.
Yeah.
So once we are once there is a end of avidya, that is the end. So that when the ignorance, the person overcomes the ignorance, that is the end of avidya. Then until that, karana sharira will be there. That is where we define that it has got an end.
So the question really is, avidya, or the ignorance, ends to who, and what happens after that? Is there nothingness, or is there a continuation? So now,
avidya, the ignorance can be in any of the field. Until unless the person understands who is he, so he will be in the ocean of ignorance. So he has to understand who is he, like he has to understand about self nature.
correct.
Okay, so
So say,
unless he understand, so he'll take that birth and death until he understand. So after that, when he is enlightened, when he understand about that, the life will end. That is one question. And once he is enlightened, for example, Ramana Maharshi, or we will take the example, he is an enlightened person. So shall we think that he is enlightened, and that is the end of his ignorance, and for him there is no birth again? Or I'm taking the conversation somewhere else?
no, correct. That is a fundamental question I'm pointing at. So what is this we call as end of ignorance? What is the nature of it? Because these two are interconnected questions. The life of a Jivan
My
Mukta.
understanding is until unless the person understand or realizes himself as who is he, that is the self nature of Atma, and when he is away from all these effect of Maya and all, I think that is the end of the ignorance for that particular jiva. So until that, the life process of birth, death cycle will keep on going, and the Karana Sharira is the seed for the gross body and subtle body, like Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira.
Okay, let's put the question in slightly a different angle. For a Jivan Mukta, are there many jivas?
I'm talking of an individual. So, because still for me, Jivan Mukta, the definition has to be more clear. Then only I think I'll be able to link those points to Jivan Mukta.
Okay, all right. Yes, Satyaji, you wanted to share.
Yeah, Vijayji. So the end of ignorance is the end of causal body, because it is the end of the reason. Karana is the reason or the cause. And once ignorance is gone, it is not the end of the body. The body still continues. In fact, what remains is Sat Chit Ananda, that is existence, consciousness, and bliss. that remains. So the life still continues, knowing pretty well that I am nothing but Satchit Ananda. And even for Ramana Maharshi or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, there were, they had to suffer even after they were enlightened. That is because of the accumulated karma. But it definitely shows that once the sense of doership is lost, ignorance is removed, there will not be any further birth and death cycle.
The suffering was more to the body, right? And with the
Not to the
realization,
knowledge, yeah.
with the realization
The
that
body continues to suffer because the body was formed because of the cause of karma.
karma,
Correct.
Now, does that mean that that particular gnani has no more bodies to be taken?
correct.
And is there another, let's say, for the gnani, is there still other jivas? Then how come Krishna says, Yada yada hi adharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. I'll take birth again and again whenever there is adharma. So how do you reconcile these two then?
Sri Krishna is an incarnation. That is an intention of universal consciousness to take a human form. So even there is an intention.
A desire.
It is a desire. So any desire, as Prabhuji says, the last days or the last moments, what you feel or what you desire, you will be that. So Sri Krishna, it is universal consciousness. Even if he has taken a body, what is operating through him, he knows pretty well it is a universal consciousness. So we can't say Krishna is any individual person, though he takes a body. So it is his desire or intention to, protect the dharma.
So then can we say that what
Vijayji, how we are relating, like here, like we are concentrating on realization of self. There it is the establishment of dharma, right? So how we are correlating these two? There the intention is establishment of dharma. Okay, here we are understanding ourselves. So how do you relate causal body and the establishment of dharma, like Krishna said?
Yeah. So what is the material for a birth? The material for a birth we are saying is nothing but karana sharira.
Yes.
So when there is a cause, then only there is a effect, and the effect we are calling as body. So here we are also talking about who is a Jivan Mukta. A Jivan Mukta is the one who has dissolved his individual identity and he is now merged with the universal identity or universal consciousness. There is no more individual consciousness. There is no more individual operating. It's a universal consciousness that is operating. That is the realization of a jnani. So for such a jnani, then is there others? Because to be able to, let's say that, there is, I will take birth again and again, when Krishna has to say that, then there must be others. Is there others for a jnani? Is that the viewpoint from where Krishna is saying that? So because these three are interrelated, what is dharma? What is establishment of dharma? It's nothing but coming back into life in some form in order to do some activity, in order to perform some action. So what it means, the gross body will end, is the point that came up when I think Satyaji or you also spoke, that when the ignorance is removed, gross body will end. Okay, if gross body ends, then how does that relate to the point Krishna is making, where Krishna is saying, I'll take birth again and again. I'll take a form again and again. So what is happening here?
Vijayji, like ignorance ends is not that gross body ends, right? see, if you take the case of Buddha, enlightenment means after enlightenment, he was alive, right? How we can say that once avidya, ignorance is removed, the gross body ends?
So the gross body, that is the seen gross body at the end of the Buddha's lifetime, is there a person? See, I think we need to understand very clearly what is this Jivan Mukta really means. So we are seeing it from
Yeah,
the
I think I think it's
Version.
for the people outside, they identify the individual
as a body.
Buddha, as a body, as a Buddha. While that person has lost that individuality.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That person is
therefore,
dead from the person's point of view. It's like he is merged into the universal.
So the body is what we consider as Buddha. Prabhuji for us is, whatever the photo that we see or the picture that we see. Shankaracharya is the form that we see. So the form is mistaken as individual, whereas the jiva has lost the connection to the form. Connection to the form means it is no more identified with the form. It is no more saying that I am this limited mind and this limited body. The form is another instrument through which universal consciousness acts. Universal consciousness acts through the bird, acts through the plant, acts through the air, acts through the sun. Universal consciousness is everywhere. It is not one thing, it is not a divided thing. So the Jnani's realization is, so far I thought I am a divided individual, and that individuality is now merged. Individuality is merged with the whole.
Paramatma.
And for the Jnani, there cannot be another one. There is no more I and the other kind of a ignorance. That I and the other ignorance is completely merged. And that is why for the Jnani, there is a deep love for everything. So the phrase Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is an experiential reality. It is like how you feel your each finger as part of you. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that the world is one family. Like in Purusha Sukta, for the Purusha, there are 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes. What it really means is that individual has now become part of the universal consciousness. So there is no more I and you distinction. So there, taking the form is a matter of a conscious choice. Like how such forms are called as avatars. Sri Krishna is called as an avatara. And as an example, in the present time, Amma is called as an avatara. What is the distinction between an avatara and a Jnani and a yogi? A yogi is on the path of self-realization. A Jnani is a realized one. So in the Jnani, no more the individuality is there. Prabhuji says one incident. At one point in time, he told his mother that he's no more there. Her son, the way she thinks, is no more there. And his mother stopped talking to him for a while, but now she is also part of Prabhuji's satsangs, and she also learns with him. So the way the world looks at Jnani is like a form. But the Jnani has lost the connection to the form. So form is not the Jnani. So the yogi is on the path. Jnani is realized that he is no more that. And avatara is one who is born with that complete clarity for a particular purpose. Right from birth, Amma's behavior, Amma's way of life was totally different from everyone else. She would right from birth, she would be seen going and serving people. She would be seen hugging people. You also may know the story of where, once Amma's brother, he is very angry with her behavior, wants her to stop. And he keeps on telling, but she doesn't stop. So once he takes one of his friends to kill her, actually. This is a real life incident, by the way. And that person, when he goes to stab Amma, he kind of falls as if, he's paralyzed. Because it is like you are hitting the space. See, when I think, I'm going to hit the space, will the space ever get hurt?
No.
I will get exhausted. That individual, that I will get exhausted, because you're no more working with a wall. It's not a wall that you're working with anymore. It's the deep silence. It's the deep space. So that person, he fell and he was hospitalized. Amma went to serve him there also. So looking at her serving him, he felt then deep transformation. So that is an example of an avatara. Like Krishna, right from childhood, his Bala Leelas are all about some events that most of us would call as magical.
Yeah, Leela.
So magic is something that, we don't understand. What I don't understand becomes a magic. So therefore, the clarity has to be that it is not necessarily the end of the world in the sense that, gross forms have to end. The world has ended in the sense that no more there is a connection to I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. So then whatever is the natural expression of that consciousness. So that's where the other stories also indicate that why there is a world. The explanation given is because consciousness is supremely creative, infinitely creative. And it's a expression of the joy of that creativity. World is not a place of suffering. When there is Krishnatva, means what? For Krishna, life is a Leela. No more it's a burden. No more it's a, oh my God, I have to wake up and do. It has become a Leela. It has become a play. So like Padmaji just before our call started, was saying, her son Aditya wants to go to school. Why? Because there's a new football turf. He wants to just go and enjoy it. Have you not noticed in little children? They just want to do something. If you press them, what is the reason? Why? I just want to go and enjoy. That's all. There is no more further major reason needed. So life is an expression of this infinite bliss of this supreme consciousness. The individual was the one who was suffering. The individual is the one who is suffering because the individual has become separate from the whole. Individual feels, I am separate from the whole. Therefore, the individual suffers. So the end of the suffering is the end of the ignorance. Or the other way, end of the ignorance is the end of the suffering.
So we should talk in sense of knowledge itself, not we should.
So I can only talk from the standpoint of a Ajnani, from a standpoint of a Jiva. That end point What is that? That is, go and ask Prabhuji. Are you enlightened, Prabhuji? Are you liberated, Prabhuji? From the standpoint of who is answering and who is asking, answers will be different. When you go to a valley, okay, and you say Bharata, the valley will reflect Bharata 7 times. You know, the mountain range, depending upon echo principle, no, will reflect it 7 times, 8 times, 9 times. So therefore, yad bhavam tad bhavati. Like the individual feels about that space, the space just morphs into that individual's feeling. Space has no intention. Space has no judgment. Yes, Satyaji.
Vijayji, actually Padmaji had a question.
Yeah.
How do we know that we are enlightened?
Yeah.
So, who is there to know?
So when the questioner ends, so therefore,
no one to know, and there is no one there to know. So that is the end of the questioner.
That is a true Vedanta. Veda Anta.
Yeah.
End of the knowledge. Means what? Means the questioner has now become pacified.
Yeah. There is no one to know, no one to question. That is it.
No need to also can be said. No need to know, no need to question. Yes. Because there's a deep sense of satisfaction.
Yes.
It is like, you know, somebody told, mango is very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice. Oh, I have to eat, I have to eat, I have to eat. And you ate? Okay. Deep sense of satisfaction. And that here is end of that questioner, that I who is questioning, that I who is saying, I need to realize that I has to really get pacified. And that's why again and again Ramana Maharshi points at the question, ask who is asking the question. Whenever a question comes, who is asking the question? Like that mirror example, no? That mirror example that we shared in the group, right? You recall that? So this is the example. This is the simplest path Ramana Maharshi has given. Who is a Gnani? I want to become enlightened. So the one on the outside is asking, I want to become enlightened. Then Ramana Guru says, who wants to know? Examine that. So long as there is individuality, one is enjoyer and doer. But if it is lost, the divine will act and guide the course of events. So how do you know that, you know, individuality is you're losing? So there are indications about that in the path. Simplest indicators are you are peaceful in most of the situations of life. No more the situations of life are bothering you. So there is a deep sense of belongingness and happiness. So that, therefore, is completely for you to only know. There cannot be any external signals. So that's why even in Bhagavad Gita, the Sthita Pragnatva Lakshana is the most important part to know regarding this question. From Shloka 2.54 onwards, Arjuna asks the same question to Krishna. Krishna, so then what are the signals, or what is the state of a Sthita Pragnatva? So we can only explain it from the standpoint of an outsider. How does a Sthita Pragnatva look like? There is no form-based signals. But how the Sthita Prajna acts in the life? Is there a deep compassion? Is there deep sense of peace? Is there clarity that is emerging around the Sthita Prajna? So these are some of the signals. So another pointer is like the salt doll going to the ocean and merging. The salt doll is the yogi saying that I want to know who am I. I want to be enlightened. Then the salt doll goes to the ocean. And then as it goes into the ocean, during the process of merging, still the salt doll is a little bit there as it is merging. When it merges, there is no more the salt doll. It has become part of the ocean. So you cannot then you cannot pick that and say, okay, tell me who are you. Before it merges, it brings it can say, oh, I'm feeling happy, oh, I'm feeling peaceful, I'm so excited, I'm so energized. All that are the answers. So are these pointers bringing clarity to the fundamental question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely.
So the avidya is that I am an individual. And end of that I am an individual is what is after that? So you will not see any guru describing that in any kind of a word.
Here, once the person wins, the winner disappears.
Therefore they only say, come along. You know, they only give the path. So they say that, you know, Buddha never discussed about God. Buddha only spoke about the path. So anicca, anitya, and dukkha. That's all his teaching is. He only says the world is full of change. The world is full of dukkha. That's all he says. To who? That is an important question. To the ego. The teaching is to the ego always. So therefore, as long as the ego is there, this question will not be. This question will be valid, and the answer will continue to be seen through the light of the ego. Okay. And once when the ego is lost, then there is no more question and no need to find the answer. And here, what we mean by ego is lost? Clarifying that the ego is an individual. That has to be now purified. Any other points that are any other questions in this regard that we want to bring here?
It's more or less clear, Vijayji. Like avidya is individual identity. That is the thing what we have to understand.
Yeah.
So until unless the person merges with the Supreme, so he will be in the path of realization. So he'll become yogi, then gnani, then jivan muktaha. That is the steps. That is what
Gnani and Jivan Muktaha are one and the same. Because a Gnani, as long as the form is continuing, is a Jivan Mukta.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
There is no more individual in a
Correct,
Gnani.
correct. So yogi to gnani, that is the thing, and the other thing is called as jivan. Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah. And an avatara has to be understood also clearly. Avatara is a realized divine right from the beginning. There is no more individual identity in the avatara life. So a Gnani could have become a Gnani during the so-called the present lifetime.
Yes.
But a special thing about avatara is it is it's born with that realization.
The born with realization and all, again the
it is being said from the standpoint of a outsider.
Yes.
For an outsider, for the jiva, there is still, okay, somebody is taking birth. Krishna is taking birth. Oh, Amma is taking birth. Oh, then who is operating through Amma? To give an explanation to this questioner, there is a Gnani is taking birth. All right. So, Satyaji, is there anything else you would like to add, Saravanan-ji?
No, Vijayji. I think so.
Yeah, I think we had a good discussion on Karana Sharira. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Then, shall we continue on to talk 10, 11, 12, or do we still need some more clarity about the Karana Sharira and Anandamaya Kosha? So Karana Sharira, this is very clear in the Karana Sharira. This is the cycle that continues until the doership is dissolved. Until the doership is dissolved, this cycle continues, and that is the fundamental ignorance. So are we clear about the Avasthatraya Prakriya?
Yes.
Yeah. So how only I am is the all-pervading across all the three states. And that is beyond the state. So that is what we have seen in the Avasthatraya Prakriya. And is a how the each of the state and what is the equivalent in the world. Is this point also clear? This is also in the talk 8 and 9.
Basically, like the one who identifies with the body and mind is referred to as Vishwan, and then the one
the universal body is Vishwa.
Vishwa.
Yeah.
And with the body consciousness lost, then it becomes Taijasa. Right?
Yeah. In the dream it is Taijasa. The dream world is Taijasa.
Yes.
In the deep sleep, the existence of the world is avidya. Because the one who has gone into deep sleep is still thinking that I have to wake up tomorrow, do this, all that, no? So the avidya is there. But the I am is the all-pervading.
Yeah.
And then again, through the Panchakosha Prakriya, we are peeling the layers of the onion. So when I realize something is I'm seeing, that's why this picture also. In the world, when I see something, for example, I experience sorrow. Oh, I am sorrowful. Whereas Vedanta will be very joyful about that. When I experience something, oh, I and the experiencer are different. No, the subject and the object Viveka is brought in Vedanta. So therefore, Vedantin will be very happy. Oh, I am experiencing sorrow. Great. Then I am not sorrowful. Because what I'm experiencing, I know, is something that has a birth and an end. And what I'm experiencing is only a moving thing. So for a Vedantin, therefore, if something is experienced, it's a wonderful Viveka. Through the Viveka of Nitya Anitya, the Vedantin will be rejoicing. Oh, I experience sorrow. So therefore, I am not sorrowful. I cannot be sorrow. So that's why the most fundamental thing or the mistake that many times we do is, I am stressful. I am unhappy. I am sad. I am diseased. So we are superimposing what is happening in different parts of our koshas to me. That superimposition is the fundamental mistake. Dehatma buddhi. So the Atman is wrongly connected to various parts of the body, and we describe various changes to as if it is happening to me. So it's in the body that I feel the body is the one which is growing, is becoming bigger or smaller. But what we say, I am fat, I am young. So which is the incorrect understanding. For the sake of the world, the Gnani may also say that. But deep within, I have to realize that it is the body which is growing old. It is the body that is becoming fat. It is the body that is currently undergoing some pain. Similarly, Pranamaya Kosha also, changes happening, we superimpose on the Atman. Hunger, breathing, various energy transformations are superimposed. And continuing further, what is happening in the mind is superimposed on the Atman. Sadness, suffering, worry, stress, all these are at the Manomaya Kosha. Then Vijnanamaya Kosha. The discriminatory power is in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Again, that is not who I am. I am not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect also. So like that, when we peel all these layers, then what remains is the pure self, both inside and outside. In other words, it's all pervading. To show that is this picture. It is both in a way deep inside and it is everywhere. So in a way it is really, it cannot be pointed at. So true jnana at the end of the ignorance is moving from Dehatma Buddhi to Atma Bhava. That this intellect is an instrument of the divine for the benefit of the world. And the intellect is no more connected to or identified, deeply identified with this mind and body. But this mind and body still has to be managed through its own impressions and through its own vasanas. It will go through. And going through that cycle is still there. But no more there is an identification with that instrument. So this is the end of the journey. When this is clearly established, like Satyaji said, as clear as I am a man, I am a woman, I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a wife, as clearly as that I am none of that. that all of those are various kinds of vikaras or modifications. That is why we looked at the Panchakosha Prakriya. So this confusion that is the change happening in the koshas is the fundamental confusion. This is samsara. Samsara means that which is constantly changing. What is constantly changing? In all these 5 koshas, things are always changing. In various koshas, various kinds of changes. But the Atman, the ego wrongly connects to, oh, this is my body is changing, I am undergoing pain, I am undergoing suffering. That removal of that fundamental confusion is true liberation. So this is the subject of the talk 8, 9 and 10. So through the Dehatraya Prakriya and Avasthatraya Prakriya and Panchakosha Prakriya, all these changing things are removed. Removed in the sense through Viveka. They are kept aside to again point at the unchanging one. So again and again, through these 3 prakriyas, the pointer is more important. What is it pointing to? What is it pointing to is not discussed. But what it is pointing to, what it is not, is clearly removed. That's why this entire discussion that we have been having through this Atma Tattva Viveka is nothing but what I am not. I am not the 3 bodies. I am beyond the 3 states. I am not the 5 koshas. That clarity is the fundamental clarity that we need to have before we go to the next set of talks, which are about the origin of the world. So the Tattva Bodha's understanding of the world, how the world arises. So from next session onwards, we can go into talk 10, 11 and 12. So through those 3, we can bring some questions. And again, some of the aspects that are discussed here will become crystallized as we go further. So that's what I feel and suggest. Is that okay with all of you?
Vijayji will concentrate on one talk for this thing. 10, 11, 12 will be huge for...
Okay, sure. We can focus on number 10. That is also okay.
Because understanding and relating and connecting the knots is very important now. No? Like,
definitely.
What is happening is 8, 9, 10, we are actually Karana Sharira only we are discussing since so many classes, like 2 classes, 3 classes. Again, still when we connect all the knots, again it is becomes another question. So how it works and so that will probably
definitely. No, that's a good suggestion.
That sounds good for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Satyaji, Saravananji, is that okay?
Yeah. Right.
All right. So Satyaji, is that okay with you also?
Yeah, Vijayji, fine.
Okay, all right. Satyaji, may I request you to close with the prayer? Padmaji looks like has dropped. She was saying that there's an internet problem.
Yeah, Vijayji.
Yeah. Can you lead us to the closing prayer?
Yeah, Vijayji.
Yeah.
Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti, Shanti. Om. Lead me from untruth, ignorance, to truth, darkness to light, impermanence, death, to permanence, immortality. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. That is complete. This is complete. When completeness is removed from completeness, what remains is complete. When completeness is added to completeness, totality remains complete. Om. Peace, peace, and peace. Who am I? Nanu, Nanembudu, Nanalla, Ideha, Manabuddhi, Nanalla, Sachidanandatma, Shiva Nanu Nane, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am not the body, mind, intellect. I am pure consciousness. Shiva Swarupi. I am true. Self is liberation. I am true self is liberation. Atma Darshanam, Brahma Darshanam, Brahma Darshanam, Satya Darshanam. Recognition of self is recognition of the whole. Recognition of the whole is the truth. May all be free from suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Murtyor Mukshi Mamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Murtyor Mukshi Mamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Murtyor Mukshi Mamamrutat. We worship the three-eyed one, who is fragrant and who nourishes all. Like the fruit falls off from the bondage of the stem, may we be liberated from death, from mortality. Om Loka Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, and peaceful.
Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Satyaji. Hari Om to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijayji.
Thank you, Vijayji. Thank you all.
Thank you.